Hey, there we go. So Quickblog. Has anybody actually done anything with Quickblog or used it yet?
No, I've just read the GitHub repo.
I did like 2 minutes of reading before the. Sometimes I feel like I want to like try it out a little bit beforehand, but I feel like part of the fun of the meetup is stumbling through it for the first time, you know.
True.
I don't know. Maybe it slows us down, maybe not. Let's see. Let's do. There we go. All right, so Quickblog. The blog code powering my blog, which is right here. Yeah. Nice minimalist style, but definitely, you know, I mean, it's got Clojure syntax highlighting, yes, and that kind of stuff. So. Let's see. Compatible with Babashka and Clojure. Includes hot reload. Oh, it's a Twitter link. It's a, as my internet connection struggles to. All right, we'll come back to that. So Quickblog is meant to be used as a library from your Babashka project. The easiest way to use it is to add a task to your project's bb.eden. All right. So then you can say bb Quickblog new file test.md title test. Uh-oh. Could not find namespace quickblog.cli. Well, what is it? Source quickblog.cli looks like the right namespace. You use the newest hash here. Let's try using the newest hash then. 8 days ago. Fresh bits. All right, let's try that. Come on. Okay. There we go. Hello, Los Angeles. Clojure. Cool. Well, that worked nicely. To start an HTTP server and re-render on watches on changes to files, bb quick watch blog. So bb quick Quickblog watch. Oh, got an exception. Oh, well, let's see if it works. Hey, there we go. Uh-oh. Doesn't look like doesn't look like the watcher stuff is working right now.
Did the logs change over when you made that? Like, did you see any more log output on that? Yeah.
What was that again?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you saw a log output move there when you made your last change. So we'll make another change.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
Gotcha.
Hmm. Wonder if there's like a, oh, look at that. So commands render, new, serve, watch, clean, refresh, templates, migrate, render the blog. Wow, look at all these files. Public, Atom. Nice. Quickblog test. Wonder how I can make it. Wonder what other options there are available here. REPL Adventures. Clojure Meetup. So it was render. Let's see. Serves. Looks like serve exits. Render new, serve, watch, clean, refresh templates, and migrate. Interesting. Log metadata. Host config. Number of, oh wow, there's lots of stuff here. Default metadata, post file, number of index posts on the homepage. Favicon, input directories. Oh, okay, so here's where you get all your posts. Template stir is templates, assets for images and stuff. Output directories, public, and tags. Oh, interesting. So public tags, Clojure. Here, I'm gonna just use watch to get a web browser going. So tags. Oh, nice. All of the posts tagged Clojure. Very cool. Oh yeah, and the title changed. Huh. Interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I was wondering how the hot reloading is going to work, because this is a static site generator, right?
Yeah.
So it was just gonna, our expectation then was it was just gonna like refresh the page on watch.
Like some JavaScript that injects. I wonder. I do. My blog is a I use Hugo. It's a static site generator, and there's a watch command that you can use for when you're writing your posts, and I'm pretty sure it injects some JavaScript so that the web browser is connecting back, and so whenever it detects a change, it can refresh the page. How that happens is another. Yeah. So let's see, Quickblog can be also used in Clojure with the same API as BB tasks. Default options can be configured in exec args. So this would be if you use a Quickblog like alias in your Depseeding. Favicons. Interesting. There's the templates favicon. Oh, there isn't. When I was looking up Borkdude's site, he actually has his blog stuff online. So I was like, we can go look at that and see what he uses. So favicon, yes. I assume this is state of the art. I haven't done a favicon in a lot of years, but this looks sufficiently complicated. Let's see, what does his BB even look like? Oh, wow. Here's all these ops up here. Are we using, oh, he's using Babashka CLI, which is a new thing that he made a little while ago to make calling, you know how when you do -x, you can do like Eden key values on the command line?
Yeah.
And so I think Babashka CLI makes it so you can use like old school Unix, you know, -- whatever, -- whatever, and it'll convert it into what the tools CLI stuff expects, or not tools CLI, tools deps. So I think it's a way of making it a little easier. Don't quite know how this relates to that, but that's what I think that was what the reason why that was created.
Maybe you can try adding another article, another post.
Cool. Oh, there you go. That didn't die. Where are we? Test 2. Oh, there, now it works. Huh. Well, there you go. You have to have 2 blog posts in order to watching. If you only have 1 blog post, then
you don't need to watch.
You need to watch. Why would you watch anything else?
I wonder how like internal links are handled. Like if you could do like wiki style links where you just reference another post by name. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Like this one is /test, so obviously we can go other post. Test.html. So if we're in test again, we can click here and go to the other one. But I wonder, so we got favicons, social sharing. Let's see, here. So templates, and that's it.
So now then if there's a template, we could try changing the format of a post.
So let's see, let's go templates, post.
Put a horizontal line at the beginning or the end or something like that, maybe.
I wonder if, oh,
There you go.
now we're getting the exception again. Uh-oh, we have too many posts. Third post, the watching working again. No, I'm just kidding. But that did, but oh, I took it out. There you go. So now if we go, yeah. Let's see, linking. That's linking from social media. Doesn't know if there's any mention of a special link. So I don't know. To answer your question there, Nigel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty standard. Not all, a lot of static site generators just sort of work like this, where you could just use relative links because you know the sort of structure. I forget. Oh man, I know there was some where they use sort of like Obsidian style links where you can do bracket bracket, and then type the name and it will just sort of traverse whatever tree. So like if you say you had like a directory of posts and then some posts with a unique name, but then there was like some info page somewhere else outside of that directory, you could just go open bracket, 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 post name, close bracket, and then it would just automatically link that when it generated, return that link into sort of a standard link when it generated.
You can actually use like the title of the post as instead of having to have like the permalink or whatever, like something.
Yeah. That's Obsidian stuff. Like Obsidian does that. Obsidian's like a note-taking tool that uses markdowns, like personal wiki style. And there's some like caveats and trade-offs with that. But I know that because I need to find it. I wrote class notes for a class in Obsidian and then was able, I'll have to find, I'll do some digging to actually find the tool that I use, but I found a static site generator that supported that so that with some minimal tweaking, I could get all of my Obsidian links that were written that way to work. Just so I could basically, I could basically take the like I had a little subdirectory in my Obsidian, because like my Obsidian is like all of my notes everywhere. I had a little like class notes directory. I just put all the class notes there and then spit that out to a separate repo and then had a static site generator that could figure out the links from there. Some would be broken if I linked out to anything else that I did, but in the repo, but anything that was in the repo, it just got it by name. And it's again, that sort of bracket style. So
That'd be cool.
one, oh, go ahead.
No, I said that'd be cool. I think I was looking at this just this social sharing stuff, and I'm pretty sure that this was written by a guy named Josh Glover. I forget what his blog is, but I follow him on Twitter, and he basically adopted using Quickblog, and was blogging like once a day or whatever, like some crazy cadence. And one of them was about I wanted to be able to post my links on social media sites, and so we actually had a post about adding social sharing to Quickblog. Well, maybe this is the. Oh well. I'm just trying to. I clicked on a link in the README. Oh, that was like how to add it. Anyway, but I'm pretty sure that this was added to Quickblog because he wanted that feature. So what I'm saying is that the idea of having the brackets for and referencing just a post name and making it into a link, I'm pretty sure that it could be something that you can add, if you wanted it to Quickblog. So
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh no, I just remembered. What is the templating language? Is this that we're using for like that the post template that we're just looking at?
I saw when I ran it.
I did notice that it downloaded Selmer, so maybe Selmer.
Yeah, I think Selmer was the one I saw. What is Selmer? Has anyone used Selmer before? Oh, Django.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I asked because I was like, oh, that looks like Django style templating. Oh, I forget the other. Was it mustache handlebars?
Yeah.
Handlebars, right?
Yeah. Templates base.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's all the sausage.
Cool.
And then where's the, yeah, there you go, body. Where it puts the body in. I mean, this is more sophistication than I was expecting. I mean, this is essentially like I've recognized a lot of the same things from Hugo. There's a trio templates and it'll pick them, and there's like nested templates. So there's like the whole page, and then there's the meat. I mean, maybe post is the only style. Like there's no other kinds of pages you can do, but it's a blog. It's not quick site, it's quick blog. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. display neat little preview cards when you share a link. These are populated from certain meta tags. Oops, here. Sharing description, sharing URL, image, author. Wow. By default, Quickblog adds tags for the page title for all pages and descriptions to the following pages. Index, archive. Ah, nice, cool. So there's a list of all of your blog posts.
How about discuss?
Now what does discuss go to?
Well,
GitHub discussion.
oh, it goes to the GitHub discussion.
Oh, I don't think I have a discuss link. Yeah, it's just empty.
Yeah.
Feed. Hey, there we go. But cool that there's an archive. I really like that. That's one of the things that I've tried to have on my blog too, because it's like a nice way of showing all the things that have been done in a quick way. And this tags thing, I'm a big fan. Like, oops, not that. The tags, being able to see other content that's similar or whatever. That's essential. Tags posted, tag pages. Interesting. You specify blog image URL option. Preview image will be added to the index to all of the pages. So blog image is there a blog image here for Mr. Bork Dude? Doesn't look like it, but preview image, the URL should be point to an image for best results. Image should be 1200 by 630 and maximum 5 megabytes in size. Most pages, description, image alt, Twitter handle, metadata in the document. And you can see over here. If not specified, Twitter handle defaults to Twitter handle option to Quickblog. The idea is the Twitter handle option is the Twitter handle, the person owning the blog, who is likely the person in most posts on the blog. The guest post, you can add the guest blogger in the metadata. Oh, interesting. I don't know if I noticed that before. So the metadata is just like key value at the beginning of the file. Hugo uses I think it's YAML at the beginning of the file, if I remember correctly. So you can have like lists of tags and that kind of stuff. So all the problems of YAML, but all the benefits too. The image field should either be an absolute URL or relative to blog root. As noted, images should be 1200 630 by 5 megabytes in size. Alt text for the preview image, which is extremely important for making images accessible to people using screen readers. That's cool. It's important because, you know, usually a lot of things are shared on, you know, LinkedIn or Twitter and that kind of stuff. So, and I assume Slack uses this too, when it pulls in the little preview, you know, that you get from the URL. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was curious to see. I saw that Hiccup was in the depths. I was wondering what he was using Hiccup for, and it's like only being, as far as I can see, only being used twice, and it's to, I think, just to convert the tags into HTML.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just like the link of, oh yeah, okay. And then the post links, yeah.
Like as a way of taking a data structure and converting it to HTML. It's
yeah.
And not have to use Summer if you don't want to. Like if it's, I'm guessing it's already, this is already a data structure.
Yeah, because that was my only thought was, this is something I ran into again when I was using again, I still don't remember the name of the static site generator I ended up landing on. Is I really do like these simple static site generator tools, except for like the one or two cases where I'm like, actually, I want this one little thing to maybe do a little bit of like server side program, like nothing live, like it'll still just take some static data I have somewhere, but like maybe do something more interesting with it. And in that case, it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have, yeah, like a little helper function just here or there. So I wonder like how hard it would be to actually just, yeah, like throw that in here. Probably not that hard to extend it.
Right. And I mean, if you're doing things, you could probably use Skittle on the front end and just have like resources where it's
Oh yeah.
file that it pulls from the server and does, because once it's on the client side, then you can do
Yeah.
whatever. I have a friend who he had a static blog generator, and he wanted to have like the most recent or most relevant posts, I think, at the bottom of the post. And so he had a little bit of JavaScript that, so when the page loaded, then a half second later, the relevant post would be at the bottom, but it was all done with the extra server fetch, because he had all the
Oh.
metadata as a big JSON file, and then he could generate the relevant stuff on the fly rather than doing.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really cool idea. Yeah. Because I was thinking you could stuff it in the DOM somewhere, like just like stuff JSON somewhere in some script tag in the DOM that then Skittle could then like pull and read on load. But I didn't think like, oh yeah, you could just spit that out to a JSON file and that's accessible. Yeah. Oh no, that's really cool. Yeah, a static API.
It's funny because I just came across this thing called it's called like the baked data. Sorry, I think it's called baked data app. It's like a way of doing applications. The baked data, yeah, architectural pattern, where basically there's stuff that you want to be sort of dynamic about your site, but not. So you don't want to like render 10,000 pages if there's almost all the same. So you want to do some client side, fun, but you don't want to have have it be pulling something from the back end, like have a whole back end running. And so you bake the data into a format that the front end can then use. So I actually have not read this article at all. I just skimmed it and that kind of got the bits, but I feel like that's kind of similar to what we're talking about is, bake something into a file and then fetch it and do whatever you want with it,
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I'll have to read through that because I've run into this. That's one of those things where it's like it's just on the edges of between two different sort of things. Where like, okay, I'm like 90% need a static site generator. There's this 10% where I'm like, ooh, maybe I need something that has some server, like, and it may not be server state, but you're like, okay, so then it could be not so much like moving to a hosted server with server state, but something where you're like, should I spin up Shadow CLJS and should I be writing Clojure script and like compiling it, and then you have to think like, okay, so then I need to set up a whole build CI thing so that when I make changes, it spits out a new package. And should I keep the compiled in source and all that? I mean, like all that stuff that you have to do. Whereas, yeah, if Skittle, that would be great. Just for like, okay, if that's handled and I can put it right there. I guess TLDR is like, I should go play around with Skittle because I think that could be Skittle plus that pattern of like, oh, when I'm generating all the site data, I might spit out some data on the side. It could be Eden, right? Just put an Eden file there that then, yeah, the front end could read in. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that Skittle has a REPL port you can now, like, I think that he figured out a way of doing, so from your editor you can be writing code and injecting it into the web page, which anytime you can do something in your editor that affects a web page, that's always like super cool magic to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm looking too specifically to see, like, I want to do like, so I'm thinking ahead, but next semester I'll be teaching a class, and I'm teaching sound design for video games. And it's mostly non-code. There's a little bit of code, but the class notes I had last year were in, like I said, I had some markdown files in Obsidian, which then I did a little bit of tweaking and was able to throw up a static site on the school's like shared GitHub page. And then that was my lecture notes. So now I'm two things I'm looking into is one is I'm looking for good JS, or if there's ClojureScript slide libraries, just so I can write slides in, like, basically with this, that's in a slide format where I can go back and forth, and they could host some amount of like media, so like videos or whatever. But one of the things that's pushing me a slightly more complex is I would like to have little web audio and data visualization tools. So like the thing that I'm thinking of is in class 1, I want to talk about the difference between amplitude and frequency in a wave, just to talk about the basic fundamentals of sound and waves. And I would like to have a little like graph that shows a sine wave, like an oscilloscope almost, that has a slider for amplitude and a slider for frequency, but that would also have a web audio, so that as you're making those changes and seeing the graph change, which you can use.
The sound, the pitch.
Yeah, you could see the sine wave, you could hear the sine wave change with the frequency, right? And there's like, I know how to do that with web, like I can sort of put it together in my head, but then I'm like, that's a kind of thing where it's like, if I had Skittle and I could pull in P5JS and maybe just use web audio directly with Skittle, if that's, it should be possible, just use the JavaScript API. Yeah. Then gluing that together, if I have a REPL, that's the thing to make sure, because that's the thing where those little, you'll hear something or see something faster than you can be like, oh, that's off by 1, or I plugged the wrong thing into the wrong thing, and just be able to tweak it until you're like, or little, often with sound tools, I've discovered like a lot of times you need to switch out linear for log for sliders or for graph values, because we hear, that's how like decibels work. It's a decibels of doubling of volume, or doubling of power. I always get this wrong. I've been doing this for a while, but there, oftentimes when you're working with something, you'll be like, oh wait, that, like a volume slider, sometimes you'll do it and it'll go loud like in 2 clicks and then stop, and you're like, oh, I need to switch that for a log. That's linear, it should be log.
Gotcha. Ah, fascinating. Yeah, anything you make, and if you want to, like, I would love to see, because I think it's a really cool intersection of, like, I mean, I feel like you could, have you looked at Clerk at all for doing this kind of stuff?
That was mentioned. It is funny. I think he mentioned that. Yeah, in the Jack Rusher talk, he mentioned Clerk. So I have that kind of on my list.
It's a really cool, like, you write the file and it regenerates only the stuff that you've changed. It does a good job, and it has already, like, I used it a few months ago, and there's been constant improvement since then. And I think that's one of the platforms that is trying to do more, like, change what you see on the web page and it gets stuff back to the data somehow, like files. Because I feel like that might even be what you could use, because you can do pretty sophisticated viewers in Clerk right now. So that where you can have like sliders and stuff, and it'll re-render, because it's like you're writing in a Clojure file, but there's also Clojure script happening on the front end. So I don't know what layer, like how much you can have control over each of those layers, like how much baked in, but definitely something to check out.
I will check that out. That's cool. Yeah, because it's, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, right now I'm thinking like there might be 1 or 2 or 3 of these little things in my notes, but it could be that if I build 1 or 2, it could be that several lectures where I'm like, well, now I want something where it's like, now that I'm doing it, I'm going to put it everywhere. Yeah. It's cool.
Everywhere. Well, cool. Is anyone convinced to use Quickblog? Oh, I mean, besides what you already said.
I think I might check it out, or maybe as a starting point to look around at other things. But yeah, I do think. Yeah, it's funny. It's actually pretty. The one thing I would say, it's a kind of light on Clojure. Like it's pretty straight. Like that's why I was like looking. I was like, what's Hiccup doing? It's like, oh, it's doing these two things.
Right.
But it is cool that it's in the community and everything just works.
Yeah, it's like three source files, and like a couple of them are 400 lines or ish. One's like 100 lines. So, I mean, it's not like, it's not an overwhelming project yet, So, I get the sense that it would be a good place to start, or even used as a reference.
Yeah.
For how things are done. It's just there's just so much fungibility in this stuff. Like you can just really, like I think that's not componentization, but the composability of a lot of good Clojure mindset is like there's a lot more low level Legos to build stuff with. Of course, you have to figure out all the Legos in which the right Legos to build with, So there's that overwhelming bit, but it's definitely, I feel like it's more composable than I've seen other things be. So
Hey, does anyone, if you don't mind, has anyone used any Clojure script slides libraries? I see that Bruce Howman has one called Talk Slides. I don't know if anyone has done talk notes and any tools that they really like, because that's just something I'm looking for.
I have the last time I did a presentation, it was in actually I used Pitch. That's a great, but Pitch, like their Clojure shop. But before that, I think my Babashka talk that I did for LA Clojure, I think was just Vim tabs, like it was just text files. But so I don't know, I don't have any favorite. I'm sure that there's a decent number of them, even pure JavaScript, like slide libraries. Good wrestle into submission.
Yeah, I'll check out Pitch. That looks cool.
Well, cool.
Oh.
Any last thoughts
Thank
before
you, Nate.
we head off into